It's time again for the Science Bowl.
Zoo Parade for 5. What big teeth the hippo has are actually a pair of these. Science Potpourri for 10. Would a snake most likely eat every day? Every week, Dateline Science for 10. Why are some elephants wearing necklaces these days? Green things for 15.
And now, here's your host, Mr. Z himself, Dave Zarin.
Thank you, and welcome to this special edition of Science Bowl. The two teams you're about to meet have won once previously, and today's winner moves on to the semifinal rounds to take on Whitehall. A lot at stake today. Let's meet today's teams. First, from Beacon Heights Elementary, would you please say hello to Kelly Zavala Sanchez, Kenneth McLeish, and Hector Diaz. And from GlennDale Elementary School, here they are, Franklin Asangong, Jayla Smith, and Ian Ward. And now here are the categories of questions we use on the Science Bowl.
Okay, Mr. Z, here's today's categories. Green things, questions about plants and all things green and growing. Zoo Parade, a Noah's Ark of questions about animals. Body systems, we'll see how much you know about yourself, about things like breathing and growing, and digesting your food. Let's get physical. Questions that test your knowledge of physics and chemistry, earth science and space science. Then there's Science Potpourri. Here's a grab bag of science questions, everything from air pollution to the kitchen sink. And finally, Dateline Science. We'll ask you about science history and science in the news.
And here on the Science Bowl, our game board reflects the difficulty of the questions. The easier ones are on the left, worth 5 and 10. The tougher ones, 15, 20, and ultimately 25, the toughest of them all. Both of our teams start out at 50 points apiece. No penalties ever for incorrect answers. End of the 2 rounds, we will have a competitor for Whitehall in the semifinals. Let's go over and make sure everything works properly. Kenneth, that red team's buzzer, could you give it a push? Thank you, young man. Good luck to you, to Kelly, and to Hector. And Jayla, how about the green teams? A-OK over there as well. Good luck to you, to Franklin and Jayla. And Ian, you know, you guys, you play well, both of you. This should be an excellent game. Give it your all, and congratulations on making it this far in our competition. Let's go alphabetically B before G, as is our wont. So Beacon Heights, let's play this bowl.
Zoo Parade for 15.
Zoo Parade for 15 points. Teams, Jane Goodall is associated with chimpanzees, her research. But the late Diane Fossey, she researched these greatest of the great apes. GlennDale.
Gorilla.
The gorilla, yes. Only 900 left or fewer in the world. Go green.
Green things 20.
Green things for 20.
Green things for 20 points. Teams, you know, paleoecologists, hopefully they're not allergic because they study ancient forms of these that plants produce for reproduction. GlennDale.
Pollen.
Pollen, yeah, boy, if you're a paleoecologist and you're allergic to pollen, you are in the wrong field. Go green.
Green things for 25.
Green things for 25. The big one in that category is a visual question. If you could all look at the monitor, please. You know, in the fall, chlorophyll, the green pigmentation, disappears from fall leaves and other pigments come to the fore. Like this yellow pigment is called xanthophyll. Xanthophyll, like the word xylophone, the musical instrument, starts with the letter X. I will give you 25 points if you can spell xanthophyll. This pigment. All right,
Ian.
GlennDale, and Ian says, I'm going to spell it. Let's see him do it.
Xanthophill.
Very good try. Very good try. Beacon Heights, you can get the 25 points if you can spell xanthophyll.
Xanthophyll.
You got it. P-H-Y-L-L. That was the correct ending. Go. Red.
Zoo Parade for 10.
Yeah. Zoo Parade for 10 points. Teams, there is a mollusk museum in Brooklyn, New York. It's a small one. And they have a bucket in there that is filled with this substance. It's enough to let a snail make its way all the way across the Brooklyn Bridge. What substance would that snail need, GlennDale?
Snail slime.
You got that right. Yeah, that goop, that snail slime, exactly right. Go green.
Green things 15.
Green things for 15.
Green things for 15 points. Teams, if you are a serious gardener, you know that you have to worry about the pH of your soil. Basically, how much of this it contains. GlennDale.
Acid.
Acid, absolutely right. Acid, alkalinity, absolutely right. Scale from 0 to 14. All right. Our scores are frozen there, but we will reset that when we take our first break, so we'll give you an update as soon as we can. Last correct answer came from the green team.
Green things for 10.
Green things for 10 points. Teams, even though they don't have udders, like a cow, it is possible to get milk from this largest of seeds. Beacon Heights.
Pass to Kelly.
Kelly?
Coconut.
Coconut, yeah, you get coconut milk, yeah. It's not really dairy, but they call it milk. All right, good answer. Red.
Green things for 5.
Let's get physical for 10.
Let's get physical for 10 points. Teams, on the top of the State House in Maryland, in Annapolis, there is a big metal pole that Benjamin Franklin made. It's there in case of an electrical storm. What do you call that piece of metal? What's it called atop the building?
Lightning rod.
Yeah, it's a lightning rod. Good. Go. Red.
Science potpourri for 10.
Potpourri for 10 points. Teams, because hurricanes are getting stronger and stronger and stronger, they're thinking of revising the top number on the Saffir-Simpson scale. Yes, Beacon Heights.
Class 6.
Yes, they want to make a class 6 instead of class 5 being the ultimate number. All right, go again.
Dateline science for 15.
Dateline science for 15 points. Before we get to that, judges, could I ask you, if you have it, can you give us a score update? GlennDale is what? GlennDale is 110. 110. And Beacon Heights? 105. All right, 105 to 110. Dateline for 15 points. Here's your question, teams. The last woman, and only the second woman, to win a Nobel Prize in physics was Maria Geppert in 1963. The first woman to win, Beacon Heights?
Marie Curie.
Marie Curie, absolutely right. Madam Curie, it is. Good. Beacon Heights, go.
Dateline science for 10.
Dateline science for 10 points. Teams, you know, recently there was a Google Doodle called Coding for Carrots to show you how to code. And it was in celebration of this kind of Science Education Week. GlennDale.
Hour of code.
Not code, no. What kind of Science Education Week was celebrated by this Google Doodle, Coding for Carrots? Computer science is what I was looking for. All right, the buzzer has rung, and we have just about a dead heat here. We're going to reset that score and come back for the second half in just one moment. Welcome back to Science Bowl. What a game. Yes, we were saying at the top of the show, the stakes, and you can see that these teams are fighting hard. Almost a dead heat, 120 for Beacon Heights, 110 for GlennDale. Lots of points to give away, but let's let them take a breath. Let's find out a little bit about themselves and their schools. If you've not had the honor and pleasure of meeting these young people when they were here before, now's your chance. Kenneth, tell us about Beacon Heights. There's actually a beacon over there, isn't there, in front of your school? Yeah, it's on one of the high spots there in Riverdale, right off the Baltimore-Washington Parkway. And who's your principal?
Our principal is Miss Walker.
Miss Walker, and she's here today. And who's the coach of your team?
The coach of our team is Miss Jones, and our former coach is Mr. Gatling.
Wonderful, and they'll be out in just a few moments here. And alternates on your team, any?
We have 2 alternates, Isis and Alpha Mia.
Wonderful. They are an integral part of this whole operation, and we appreciate all their work and the work that the coaches have done. And you told me before that going to Beacon Heights, it's just fun. They make learning fun. How do they do that?
They make learning fun because they give us
I know they joke around a little bit. And they let you do a lot of hands-on activities and
yeah, like in my math class, we have these things called manipulatives, and they help us to learn math in an easier and more fun way.
Yes, because if it's just on paper, it's not the same. You got to touch things, you got to hold things and manipulate things. Thanks for sharing that. Someday you're going to grow up and be
a technological engineer.
An engineer, yeah. And this young man, he's a scholar, he's an athlete, he's a musician. You play the piano, do you not? And the violin. So an accomplished young man, and that is on display here. Hector, nice to have you with us here. And you told me you come from a family of police officers, yes?
Yes.
Yeah, and you told me before that the motivation was you want to help people because there's so much crime in the world.
Yeah.
and we need some good people out there to keep the rest of us safe. And we were telling you last time, just be safe out there. It's a very tough job, and you look like a disciplined young man. What do you do in your spare time?
I like to spend time with my friends and family.
Yeah, that's great, and I'm sure they're encouraging you, and they're going to be real proud of you one day if you ever put that badge on, even if you don't. Kelly, nice to have you with us today, future lawyer. Let me ask you this, Kelly, do you like to argue?
With my brother, a lot.
Well, let me ask you, I'll follow up. Do you win your arguments?
Hmm?
Do you win the argument?
Most of the time, it's my brother.
I like your demeanor. You'll make a good lawyer someday. Yeah, you really will. I want you to represent me. What do you do in your spare time?
I would play the piano and play video games, and read books and cook.
You do all the right things. And you told me you make pupusas, is that right? She didn't bring any today. We were hoping. GlennDale, nice to have you guys here today. Jayla, tell us the GlennDale story. GlennDale is a central part of Prince George's County here. And who's your principal?
Our principal is Miss Porterfield.
Absolutely. She's out there rooting for you. And the sponsor of your team is the one and only Miss Moore.
Yep.
And she's out there, and she's responsible for GlennDale being on this show. And Nicole, thank you for all the work you have done as well. And alternates on your team, Jayla, any?
Yeah, we have 3. We have Zaria, we have Chimamanda, and we have Walter.
Wow, you have a shadow team out there ready to step in if need be. And we appreciate all of them. We'll bring them out in a few moments here. GlennDale, great school. What kind of extracurricular things are available to you there?
We have lots of aftercares. We have a GlennDale before and after care, and we have art club, we have drama club, drama kids, which is something else, and I think there's an art club, and of course there's science bowl.
And of course there's science. Thank you for the plug. We appreciate that. You have great poise, Jayla. You're a good choice to be the captain of the team here. And someday, what do you want to do?
When I grow up, I want to start a business with my friend.
Yes. And I asked her what business, and she said, that's a trade secret, Mr. Z. I'm not going to share that with anybody. She's a smart business lady already. Franklin, nice to have you here. Mm-hmm. Your interest in medicine, neuroscience, the human brain. You know, humans have been around a long time. We still don't quite know how they work.
Yep.
And there's a lot of research to do. What do you like to do in your spare time, Franklin?
I like to play piano. I play on my PlayStation. I like reading books.
Yeah, tell me what kind of books you like.
I like informational books, but of course I read fictional books sometimes.
Absolutely right. Sometimes it's nice to have a little balance of each there. Yeah. And people who read, students who read, do real well on this show, as you are exemplifying here. And Ian, nice to have you here, young man who wants to follow in his dad's footsteps and be a television reporter. Tell me the kinds of things that you're doing to get your server, because you're so well spoken. I bet you're a good writer too, Ian. Don't be bashful. You can take credit for that.
Okay. Well, what I'm doing to prepare myself in the very common event that I get the job of being a news reporter, I've been running for president, school president, and I wrote my speech. I thought it out. I revised it myself. I'm also trying to work with my grammar. My mom has this SAT book that I start reading.
Never too soon to do that. Never too soon. And you said something important about you wrote your speech and then you went back and you revised it, because good writing is really not spontaneous. You've got to go back, and to make it just the right way, you're doing all the right stuff. All right, let's get back into the game here. And 110 for GlennDale, 120 Beacon Heights. Lots of points to give away. And Kenneth, you gave us last correct answer, so start us out.
Body systems for 15 points.
Body systems for 15 points. Teams, if you were searching for your body's cochlea, you would find it in your inner what? GlennDale.
Ear.
Ear, that's right, your inner ear. It kind of looks like a snail in there. Go green.
Green things for 5.
Green things for 5 points. Teams, a famous poet once wrote that one of these green things may have in summer a nest of birds in its hair. GlennDale.
A tree.
A tree, that's right. Trees by Joyce Kilmer. Poems are made by fools like me. Only God can make a tree. That was the last line. That's a great one. Go green.
Zoo parade for 20.
Zoo parade for 20 points. Teams, the abominable snowman, the Yeti. People have feared it for years. Now research says, You know, it's probably just one of these earth sign creatures. It's probably just a what, Beacon Heights?
Pastor Kelly?
Yeah.
A myth?
No, I'm looking. Remember, Zoo Parade. It's probably one of these earth sign creatures, this abominable snowman. It's probably just a common what?
Polar bear?
Judges? Yes, we will give that to you. Bear is what we learned, and earth sign was your clue. Good, go.
Science potpourri for 15.
Science potpourri for 15.
Potpourri for 15 points. Teams, there was a man by the name of Franz Mesmer who came up with hypnosis. He would mesmerize people because he said we human beings, even though we don't have a north and a south pole, we have an energy called animal what? Animal what, GlennDale?
Instincts?
Not instincts. Even though we don't have a north or a south pole, Mesmer said we human beings have an energy known as animal what?
Force?
Magnetism. Magnetism, north and south. That was a tough question. Go green. 130, 140, 10 points down, Jayla.
Let's get physical for 15 points.
For 15 points. Teams, recently on the Popular Science website, there was a 6-year-old boy. He was really cute. He had a jar. He filled it with water and vinegar and food coloring, and he also put in some dishwashing liquid, and he swirled it around, and he made one of these, even though it wasn't strong enough to register on the Fujita scale. What did he make in that jar?
A tornado?
Yeah, he had a tornado in the jar. Yes, indeed. Good. Go, GlennDale. You broke the tie.
Body systems for 10.
Body systems for 10.
Body systems for 10 points. Teams, it turns out that girls take 3 times longer to recover from these kinds of head injuries experienced in athletic. Beacon Heights.
Concussion?
Concussions, you got it. Yes, indeed. Thank you, Hector, for your help. Go, Red.
Science potpourri for 5.
Science potpourri for 5 points. Teams, a cashew nut and some beans have the same shape of what renal organ? GlennDale.
Kidney?
Yeah, they look like kidneys. Thank you, Ian, for your help. Go green.
Zoo parade for 25.
Zoo parade for 25. Big one in that category, teams. All right, I know you know this. Frogs and insects go through this developmental process. GlennDale.
Metamorphosis?
It is metamorphosis, a change in shape and behavior as they go through the different stages. Indeed. Green.
Physical for 20. Body systems for 20.
Body systems for 20.
Body systems for 20 points. Careful here. People who are allergic to gluten have to be very careful because gluten can damage this longest of your internal. Beacon Heights.
Large intestine?
No, sir. GlennDale, gluten can damage this longest of your internal organs.
Stomach.
What do you have?
Stomach?
The small intestine. The small intestine is much longer than the large intestine. The large intestine is wide, but it is not long. Okay, go green.
Let's get physical. Dateline science for 20.
Dateline science for 20.
Dateline science for 20 points. Recently, you remember, there was an earthquake. It registered 4.1 on the Richter scale, and it was very strong in Dover, Delaware. That place where the earthquake is the strongest is known as this.
Epicenter.
It is known as this, GlennDale.
Epicenter.
The epicenter?
You're getting it from both those guys. They know their stuff. Epicenter it is. Good. Go, green.
Dateline science for 5.
Dateline science for 5 points. Teams, because the strain of this disease coming to us from Australia is different from the vaccines that we got. A lot of people this winter are coming down with GlennDale.
Flu?
The flu, yeah. Green.
Zoo parade for 5.
Zoo parade for 5 points. Teams, I've always wondered, that mythological Gorgon Medusa who could turn men into stone just by looking at her? I wonder if she had these kinds of reptiles in her hairbrush. Kenneth?
Pass to Hector.
Snake?
Yeah, were there snakes in her hairbrush? It would seem possible. Yeah. Thanks, Hector. Go, Red.
Body system. Let's get physical for 25.
The physical for 25, the big one in that category, teams. If you've ever flown an airplane, you don't fly so much in the troposphere, the layer closest to the Earth, because that's where all the weather takes place. The pilots take it up to the lower level of the...
Hemisphere?
What's that?
Hemisphere?
Not hemisphere. The next layer of the atmosphere, the lower level, is where most planes fly. GlennDale.
Pass it to Franklin.
Atmosphere.
I needed a specific layer. Stratosphere. Stratosphere is what we're looking for there. Go green.
Body systems for 5.
Body systems for 5 points. Teams, please reset the green light there. All right, this is body systems for 5 points. Teams, this word is a girl's name. It's a flower, and it's also the colored part of your eye. GlennDale.
Iris.
Iris, absolutely right. Good. 5 points more for you. Go.
Let's get physical for 20.
Let's get physical for 20.
Let's get physical for 20 points. 2-part answer. Teams, the 2 most abundant elements in the universe. Please turn that light on the green. All right, again, this is the 20-point question in Let's Get Physical. The 2 most abundant elements in the universe are these 2 light gases that are number 1 and number 2.
Hydrogen and helium. Hydrogen and helium?
You got it. Number 1 and number 2 on the periodic table. You got them both. Go green.
Body systems for 25.
Body systems for 25, the big one in that category. Teams, drinking wine apparently is very good for you because it increases your body's sensitivity to this hormone made in the pancreas. This hormone made in the pancreas. Can you name it for 25 points? Beacon Heights.
Pass to Kelly.
Come on, Kelly.
The blood?
No, not the blood. GlennDale, do you know the name of the hormone produced in the pancreas? And wine drinking apparently increases your body's sensitivity to it, which is a good thing. It's called insulin. Insulin. Go again, green.
Let's get physical for 5.
Let's get physical for 5 points. Teams, even though this planet is closer to us than Mars, we're not going to colonize it because it's so hot and wrapped in clouds. GlennDale?
Venus?
Venus, yeah, it's opaque. Its clouds are made of sulfuric acid. There's no way we're going to set up camp there. All right, we have 3 questions left, and green, advantage still yours.
Science potpourri for 20.
Science potpourri for 20 points. Teams, all of the oxygen and iron in our blood, we think originated millions of years ago when stars exploded in the universe. When a star explodes, it's known as a
Supernova.
A supernova. You got it. All right, go.
Dateline science for 25.
Dateline science for 25 points. Teams, Governor Hogan wants to make a high-speed railroad that goes from Washington to Baltimore in just 15 minutes. It's called a maglev train. Beacon Heights.
Pass to Hector.
No. Come on, Hector.
I didn't have anything. I was about to talk to Kenneth.
Oh, okay. GlennDale, maglev stands for magnetic. What does the lev stand for?
Pass to Ian.
Levitation.
Levitation it is, absolutely. Last question of the game is a visual question. Look at the monitor, please. Science potpourri for 25 points. Teams, this dinosaur, the Dryptosaurus, actually lived in Prince George's County. Its alternate name, the prefix, is the name of the mountain range here in the east that is equivalent to the Rockies in the west. Name that mountain range for 25 points. Beacon Heights, come on, don't give up on me. Talk to each other in case I come to you.
Appalachian Mountains.
Say it again.
Pass to Franklin.
Appalachian Mountains.
Appalachian.
You got it. Appalachian Mountains it is. And with that, we come to the end of the game, and it looks like GlennDale is moving on. We'll be back in a moment. Don't go away. Welcome back. What a game, you know, with a semifinal berth at stake. This is exactly what we expected. 2 teams really skilled in science, but even better at sportsmanship. We're really proud of these students here today. Let's look at that final tally. It is Beacon Heights 135, GlennDale 315. Congratulations, GlennDale, Franklin, Jayla, and Ian. You deserve this. And Walter and Zaria and Chimamanda, congratulations to you. And Miss Moore, we're going to see you in the next round. And a round of applause for Beacon Heights, Kelly and Kenneth and Hector. Also, Isis is back there, along with Afamaya and the principal, Miss Lila Walker and Miss Valerie Jones. I know how proud they are of you guys, and everybody did their best, and that means you all won. You won too, because you watched today, and we hope to see you next time on another edition of Science Bowl. I'm Dave Zare. Until then, bye-bye.